Caroline Leisegang has emerged as a transformative force in the world of classical music, really redefining the boundaries of composition, both in her home country and on the global stage at large. Now, with 4 full-length albums to her name, she has consistently pushed the envelope, crafting works that resonate with both contemporary and traditional audiences. And now she navigates the evolving landscape of her own artistry. Caroline is finding new depths in her sound. It's a reflection of her journey through the nuances of time and experiences. So she joins us this morning to chat about her musical journey. Caroline, good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Congrats on your offerings. I mean, the 5th offering for you. How was that process at large, immersing yourself in that experience, the layers, the emotions involved?
It's a very stressful process. I think from start, I always say that writing the music is the easiest part. Recording it is the easiest part, but then when you actually release the music, that is the hardest part, because you don't know how people are going to respond to it. You don't know what you're going to have to put in terms of, I mean, it's a big, you sell yourself. You sell yourself as a musician, and you have to be ready to actually be in that space to actually come and speak to people and tell your story and be open with it and to kind of translate it in a way. But there's a very rewarding part where you get feedback from listeners, and it's always very humbling and it's inspiring to hear how everybody is affected differently. So it makes it worth it for me.
It's that vulnerability and the context that you have to obviously impart to those who are not privy to the behind-the-scenes moments. And so incorporating the strings, using the cello in New York, I mean, talk to us about how that came to be for you as well.
So I'm a cellist and I'm a pianist.
Yeah.
I've normally only written albums for solo piano. On my 3rd album, I kind of played with the idea of adding strings, but it wasn't really something that was at the forefront of the music. This album, I wanted to kind of test my own boundaries and see if I could actually do it. So I wanted because I've always wanted to write for strings, so I wanted to be able to try. And then I thought, okay, because you're a cellist, rather stick to the instrument that you know.
Okay.
And there's quite a heaviness to cello. So I went with the whole contrast of light and dark that I have in the album. The cello worked out perfectly. It creates this heaviness and this sort of melancholy, as most people don't really always want to hear.
And that's why I wanted to delve into that further, because Comes the Night was based on a book that you found in Paris. And so if you're speaking about that, those emotions that the cello is able to evoke, I mean, really talk us through the storyboard.
The title from the book is really because it's a coming of age. So I've been working my way around how to actually explain why it's from the book.
Okay.
So the book is a coming of age story of this young girl. She's a tourist in Paris, living in Paris, and it's just how she navigates the world around her and sort of that contrast between lightness and darkness, and So this was my sort of coming of age. I saw it as my coming of age as a composer, because obviously I'm not coming of age. I'm 34, so
it's okay. We're living in but how would motherhood have also added to that journey as well, and adding to that depth?
That's the whole thing. Is I think that you do come of age when you become a mother. You become as a woman. You become completely different in your being and how you are as a person. What you find is important. You have a responsibility. You're now accountable for somebody that is not yourself. Which is, and it's not like sort of in the same sense of like family, like your parents or your husband, or that it's your child is number one, and it's this friction. There's always this give and take and this beautiful sort of tension that goes throughout motherhood, that I found. So I think that even though as a whole, the album isn't about motherhood. I think as a whole, maybe it is about motherhood because I am a mother and I do identify myself as a mother.
Yeah.
And that is my number one job next to being a musician.
Yeah.
And it's about that kind of, was it that journey of finding your vocation on top of being a mother, which is quite hard because, I mean, to find the balance of nurturing your ability to create and then nurturing a small human and giving them everything that they need. So it's a...
And yourself, right? To remain open and vulnerable. I mean, gee whiz, if someone can share the Wi-Fi passcode for that.
We find, it's about finding the balances. So I think that's what Comes the Night is about, is navigating the ins and outs of all of the above.
We cannot do this thing called life alone. And
exactly.
So collaborations are important. Friends are important. Claire is someone that you worked with.
Yes.
You also had Jacques Duplessis come on
Yes.
board. And so talk to us about that process, how they would have added and helped you as well.
So Jacques is my recording engineer. He is phenomenal. I've recorded almost every single one of my albums with him. He's not classically trained. He doesn't read music, but he understands music and he understands how to make you feel comfortable in studio and how to make your music sort of travel. So he can say, okay, you haven't played this wasn't like your best effort. Let's try it again, or let's try it again. And he doesn't do it in a way that makes you think, okay, we're under pressure, we need to sort of like get this done like snap, like literal.
But it's that gentle strength, perhaps, that pushes.
And that's something that's I think is very important in finding in a sound engineer. And then Claire she's my favorite cellist in the world. She is one of the most phenomenal cellists, and she always somehow, like, I always ask her if she'll come and be part of my little projects and my plans and everything, and she's always so happy and so grateful and so excited to be part of anything that's to do with music. And in her own right, she's a phenomenal composer and musician. So to be able to work with both of them was really was very special.
What was, having the mastering in Dolby Atmos also, how did that add to the experience? How does that also relay for us who are obviously taking in what you've now offered?
So it's such a weird platform, I think, for a lot of people, this whole spatial audio, Dolby Atmos, because it's very new. Well, we're starting to find that it's very new. I was very scared to master in Dolby Atmos because we all know about stereo. We all know about listening in stereo, and we know what something is supposed to sound like.
Yes.
With spatial audio, you basically have the entire room around you. So with that space, it's how do you place essentially two instruments around in a space, and how do you do it and without making it sound like a crazy spaceship that is kind of like landing on Mars and everything. It's a very new experience, but it was interesting.
You're chartering new waters, you're offering a new album. Thank you for sharing your spree with us. I know it's not goodbye, we'll see you in just a moment. But Caroline Leisegang this morning, again, sharing a remarkable journey, her insights with us today, as well as her latest offering.